Welcome to Sunday Springboard, where with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women become confident and thrive after toxic relationships. So there's a story about this wealthy man who went to this king's court to talk to this wise man named Burble. This man thought that one of his servants had stolen from him. The clever Burble thought of a solution. Hang on, let me share my screen so I can show you what is going on here. So he gave them these sticks, gave every one of them a stick, and he told them that this stick will grow 3 inches by tomorrow if you are the thief. Okay, so he gives them all the sticks, and the next day they gather around him, and he noticed that one of the servant's sticks was 3 inches shorter than the other ones. Well, he knew that that person was the thief because he had cut off his stick because he thought it was going to actually grow 3 inches since he was the thief. Because of this, his guilt was easily proven. Wouldn't it be nice if it was that easy to discover if someone is lying or if they're a thief or a cheat or something like that? Unfortunately, it is not. But we do know some things, and we have been talking about myths that we believe about the abusive men or women that we're with that keep us stuck, that keep us in those relationships when possibly we should be moving on. So if you missed the first video about the first set of myths, you can watch it on my YouTube channel. There's a link to that in the show notes. And today we're going to go on with the second part. So here's the book again that I got this information from. Wonderful book. Why Does He Do That? Into the Minds of Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft. I highly recommend it. Okay, here's one. He's just crazy. He's got some mental illness and he needs to be medicated for it. Well, the thing is, their value system is what's unhealthy, not their psychology. Much of what appears to be crazy behavior in an abuser actually works quite well for them. So if you're talking about them and you think, they must be delusional to think they can get away with this. Well, turns out a lot of times they do get away with it. A lot of times we're the ones letting them get away with it because we keep making excuses for them. So no medication yet discovered has turned an abusive person into a loving, considerate, appropriate partner. They can take the edge off with some medicine, might dull some of their worst behaviors, but probably won't even do that. Okay, here's one. His mom abused him. His mom was terrible to him, and women have been terrible to him, and he hates women. Well, most of them don't actually hate women. Many of them disrespect women. And this can go in different ways. One is that on the one hand, one man might be able to interact fine with any women that he's around except for his partner, except for the one he's intimately involved with. And then there are other men that just are always arrogant and disrespectful to the women that they're around. But the views that they have, this disrespect that they have, they believe that the women in their life should cater them and they're not worth, they shouldn't be taken seriously, they're not worth listening to, they don't have anything worthwhile to give to their lives. This disrespect does not come from their mother or some other woman treating them badly. It comes from either they've learned this from their father, they've learned this from their culture, they've learned this from maybe the people they hang with. They learn this from life experiences, not because their mom or some other woman treated them badly. Now, kind of following that same thing, this says, so the first one was a bad mom, now we got a bad partner. His ex just treated him so poorly, and he's going to tell you this. I've had this one before, because she treated him so badly. He was just this great, wonderful person. He was a great husband or a great boyfriend to her, and she just mistreated him so badly that now he has a problem with women. He was a wonderful man, and that biatch turned him into this. Now, this is an excuse he's giving you for mistreating you. This is a distortion. Have you ever heard a woman claim that the reason she is chronically, ongoing, abusing her mate, her new partner, is because some man in the past treated her badly? This generally is not going to be, if this is an excuse. So if he uses this as an excuse for why he's mistreating you, you should stop believing anything about that relationship that he says. Everything about it is subject to be challenged, because this is actually a red flag, that he just is not able to relate to women and deal with women well. And this one he's just afraid of intimacy and abandonment. Now, there's a lot of people, male and female, who are afraid of being abandoned, and we run, and we're afraid to let our guard down because we're afraid of the heartbreak, or we feel desperate when a partner leaves us. If everyone that felt this way turned into being a stalker and an abuser and doing the threats and even murder, our world would just be a war zone. This is just not true. So the idea that when you're starting to get close and you get so close that he's afraid, and so he starts being cruel to back you off because he's afraid. This is not actually true. Most of the time, abusive men do their abusive behavior after a period of mounting tension and distance, not at the moment of y'all getting closer. So again, this is just another excuse. Most of the time, abusive men never let their guard down, their emotions down enough to ever get close enough to a woman. I say the woman because mostly these abusers are men. I am aware there are some abusive women. So if you're a man watching this and your partner is abusing you, please understand, I'm not dissing you. It just is more likely a man abuser with a woman. But so most of the time they keep enough distance that they're not ever even close to being intimate or truly intimate, to be afraid of it. And then finally, there are men, plenty of men, who have fears of intimacy and fears of abandonment, but they don't abuse their partners. They don't control them and abuse them because they don't have an abusive mentality. Now, this is one that got me. He suffers from low self-esteem. He just needs his self-image shored up. I know he acts arrogant, but that's just hiding that inner self that has such low self-esteem. And this one can be a little tricky because we actually know that narcissists do have a tremendous low self-esteem. However, it is so deep inside their psyche, and they are so unwilling to admit it's there unless they're using it as an excuse. That there's nothing we can do to ever help them. We pour out our energy into them, and we support them, and we massage their ego, and we live with their insults because he's just got this low self-esteem and I'm just going to build him up. And we feel like if I can build him up enough, I can love him enough that he can feel good about himself and he can be happy. And I was never able to. I was with him for 19 years and it just never happened. And so you can try and try and try to love them enough, to build them up and support them in encouragement, hoping that if you do this enough, this is going to keep them from lashing out at you and they're having the next explosion. And it doesn't work. It might work a little while. You might buy yourself a little bit of time, but sooner or later, he's going to go right back into his old ways. And actually, when you try to improve their feelings about themselves, it actually can get even worse. Because if you start giving them more attention and more positive attention, they just want more and more and more. They start demanding more, expecting more, and instead of you starting to have a better household, you have a more demanding, abusive partner. So this is a myth, this idea of self-esteem, and actually they can use it. They can use it for their own benefit. They can use it with a therapist. They can use it with you. And this actually helps them get their way a lot of times, because you're just trying so hard to make them feel good about yourself and bending over backwards to make them happy. And this ends up wonderful for them and often terrible for you. So we had the bad mom, we had the bad ex, and now we got the bad boss. So his boss abuses him. When he's at work, he just feels so powerless and unsuccessful. And so he goes home, and this is the only place he can be powerful. So that's why he takes it out on us, because we're the only place he can feel that way. Well, the truth is that the more powerful a man is at home, at work, the more powerful he feels at home also. And if he's powerful at work, he gets home and he expects us to cater to them and to submit to them, and expects the same thing to go on. So the author of our book says that he has never yet had a client who had better behavior at home because he got a promotion or his situation improved at work. This just isn't what this is about. If he's saying this, this is an excuse. If we're coming up with this, this is an excuse. It is a myth. It is not the truth. So summarizing this set of myths, we've got he's crazy, he had a bad mom, had a bad partner, he's afraid of intimacy, abandonment, suffers from low self-esteem, has a bad boss. Now, if you're thinking any of these things, you're using any of these things as excuses to make you stay and you're feeling stuck, and I want you to notice where you're feeling these. And then ask yourself this question again, just like we did last time. Where are you believing these lies? Why are you believing these lies? And what would change if you stopped believing them? What would happen in your life? Now, if you need some help figuring this out, a lot of times we can't figure it out in our heads ourselves because our brains just whirl around. I've had several clients recently come up with these amazing ideas, and they're like, I've been working at this for so long and I never came up with these ideas. How come I didn't? So it's because you're being coached. You're having someone help you, an expert asking powerful questions to help you figure these things out. So if you need some help, you can always get that from me. There's a link in the show notes. You can go to my website, KimberlyCoaching.com. You can schedule a free session. I would love to talk with you and see whether we would be a good match for a coaching relationship. Meanwhile, you can watch my videos on the YouTube channel. That is also, the link for that is also in the show notes. And meanwhile, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.